here, Leary, Calhoun County, Georgia, that we are so proud of. She is the daughter of Malachi Lewis and his lovely wife, who couldn't make it, Miss Bunny Lewis, and she has all of her sisters here tonight, which is a big feat. She has, what, five sisters? Five sisters, and she has all of her sisters this way. Sonia has done so many magnificent things. She's now living in London. She's gone to London via Albany, Valdosta, New York, so many places. And I think now she's realizing her dream to become an author. And once she get that book published, that first book, you take off, and we can say what? We knew her when. The only thing we have left to do now is to send it to the Oprah show. All right. Once Oprah put her touch on it, it's a done deal. So we know that some people really travel a long distance to be here with Sandra tonight. And I'm just going to turn it over to her. Let's welcome Sandra back to Albany, our new author.
Probably need a bookmark here to have a place. This is what you call unprepared. Those who are in journalism and writing, you know, you sort of shoot from the hip, doing it at the last minute. And my password says it doesn't work. I do want to say good evening, everybody. And I think you probably hear a little bit of London talking. And I say, good evening, everybody. London has been in the paper, or England has, so much lately with the royal wedding and the glamour and the glitz and the fairy tales going on. And it is a wonderful place. My sister Carrie has visited me there. My brother Eddie, who is one day short of being here with us, he left this morning very, very early to go back to Nevada. And it's a lovely place. But I always say that the sun doesn't shine in London the way it shines in Albany, Georgia, and Leary, Georgia, and the rest of Calhoun County, and the rest of Doherty County. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is my friends, my family, because this is my home. This will always be my home. I love being there. It's where my life is now, but I will always return here. I'm looking at Sister Annie Moore Hawkins, and she always says that to me. She said, one thing about Sandra, she will come home. And so I'm glad that someone notices, because those flights can be quite something. It's 9 hours over every time I come from London. I want to thank Annette Scott. I've lost her, she's gone somewhere, for really saying there will be a book signing. I tried to squeeze out of the book signing, to be honest. I thought, I'm not ready for this. And Annette said, nope, there will be a book signing. So here we are. We're at a book signing, and I want to thank her for that. And I want to thank my sisters, who never seem to tire of me talking about this novel. And particularly my sister Mary, who reads all of my short stories. She is always commenting and saying wonderful things about my writing. So I think I'm going to ask her in particular, when she does a review of The Baroness, that she does it under a pen name, because people might not believe her. So, and it's so many people that I do want to thank, and I don't want to overlook anybody. But I just want to say special thanks to the people who really worked so hard to put this book affair together. I also want to just again thank my sisters and my niece Nikki, my niece Denise Barnes, who's married to my nephew Leon. She's here helping out. Michelle, is it Watts? Got it, Michelle. She's been very supportive, a friend of the family and everyone, and also my friend and cousin Brenda Scott, who has definitely been involved in getting Larry to turn out and Fred. And that's been very important. And I do have to say a special thanks to my father, who is sitting here tonight, and it's a very special moment for me to have him here. And I said I wasn't going to shed any tears, so I'll just come off of that one. Thank you very much, Daddy, for being here. And I want to thank my mother, who is not here tonight, but very, very supportive of me. Right. Okay. For the longest time, it's just so many, as I said, I don't want to overlook anybody. I want to thank each of you for coming out and supporting me. We have people here, from different places. From Valdosta, my friend Cheryl, from Valdosta State University, people from Leary. We have a very special guest, everyone's special, but in particular I want to mention Ed McMinn, my journalism professor. I literally stalked him through Facebook, trying to find him, and wrote him notes. He is a big-time author. He's over there being shy, but he's published 21 books. And I thought, Ed's gonna say, nah, I don't know who she is. But I wrote him anyhow, and here he is. So thank you much for being here. But I would like to say, certainly, last but not least, I have to thank God for being here tonight and for being an author of this novel. I have been writing forever and a day. I've been telling stories forever and a day. Shantae probably remembers when she was just a little girl. I used to tell her stories, and she probably thought this woman was crazy. And so now she sees what it's come to. But I fancied myself for years as C.S. Lewis, the great sort of Christian author. And then I wanted to be, when I went to Valdosta State, I had another professor who introduced me to African American literature, and that's Shirley Harding, and she's not here tonight. But she got me really excited, and so for many years I fancied myself as James Baldwin, reincarnated, Zora Neale Hurston. And I really got a little upset because I couldn't write like these people. And I think what really happened was, after a while, and I really got inspired to write novels because even though Ed was teaching journalism, he was writing a novel. And I thought, that's interesting. Now he tells me that he did not finish the novel, but he's an author. He writes nonfiction books. But he was writing a novel, and I really sort of got involved in thinking, I can do this. I want to do, the long narrative. That is what I want to do. And so I decided to pursue novel writing. And I have written a total of, I normally say, 3.5 novels. And The Baroness is my first novel to be published, but it is not the first novel that I've written. I've been out in the wilderness for a long time. And I've been working and praying, and I wanted to give up. But I think God has said to me, I'm not going to claim to you that I've got a real clear message, but it's clear enough for me that if He's given me this gift to write, that I have a responsibility to use it. And I think that's very important. And although I've wanted to use it in many different ways, my first novel was a novel called Crossing Over. I had my next novel, Running Out of Time. I had The Church People. And as Annette said, there will be a book signing. God said there will be a novel, and the novel will be The Baroness. This novel has been dedicated to my father's sister, Fannie Mae Primus Lewis Oliver. And it took her life and her death to inspire me to write this novel. I was writing, but I became quite obsessed with the notion of whether I would have children or not. And she didn't have children. And I dedicated the novel to her because I wanted to raise awareness around the subject. And I didn't want to write memoirs. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to bore you with that. I wanted to entertain you. I wanted to explore the form of fiction, have different voices. And so was born The Baroness. And it took me 6 years from start to finish, from plotting to just writing, going through the editorial process to write this novel. And it's a story about a successful woman who is searching to define her own happiness with or without becoming a mother. Motherhood is a very, very important thing. It's a fundamental issue, as is fatherhood. But not everyone will have children. And I do think that it's important to recognize that that's okay. And I don't think that over the years, perhaps women in the generation before my generation, that it was necessarily felt that it was okay. And I wanted this novel to be something that we could wave and say, it's okay. Be comfortable in your own space, whoever you are, and whatever you do. And so that is the story of The Baroness. And so far, it has been a wonderful journey. I have had astounding success with media relations. It's unbelievable because it is an independently published novel. This novel, I had a literary agent many years ago, and unfortunately, she was killed in a car accident in Germany. And the bottom basically fell out of the publishing industry. And so it's very difficult. I think, there's some very blessed people in the house. It was very difficult for me, but I stayed very involved in the literary community in London. And what a wonderful community that is. Very supportive writers. I have a mentor, an award-winning writer, a guy called Jacob Ross, and Jacob was fantastic. And just really saying to me, he asked me one day if I was deeply religious, and I'll never forget that question. And the reason that I will probably never forget the question is because I was too quick to answer. When he asked me that, I felt a bit funny, and I thought, I don't think of myself as a deeply religious person. I'm Christian. I was brought up in a Christian home, and I am a religious person. So I looked at him, and I don't know. And I could never forget what I said to him. And I thought about that. And my answer to Jacob now is absolutely. Because every day when I sit down to write, or before I sit down, when I go out to run, I pray. And some of the songs that have been in the background tonight have been very inspirational to me, whether they've been rhythm and blues or whether they've been gospel music. One particular song, again, I have a friend who is Sister Hawkins' son, Derek Hawkins. We talk to each other a lot through email. And I remember one morning going out for a run, and I could not stop singing this song that Deacon Alvin Mallory used to sing. I woke up this morning with the bright sunshine, and I'm just singing that song. And then one morning I'm singing, "Teach Me, Master." I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? And I recognized what was happening was these things were just going over in my head. They were going over my head. It was being clear. The way was being paid for me.